Hi, teammates. Welcome to this episode of the Eurostep. My name is Sean J. McCaw, as usual. I am very happy that you've tuned in for this episode. As usual, this is what I like to do for information to give positive information about my guests and basketball life in general here in Europe, and give a little bit of look behind the scenes and see things that probably a lot of people don't get to see from my guests. Before we begin, let me remind you that if you hit the comment button down below or the question mark with the speech bubble, you can ask a question for my guest or myself included, and I will try to infuse those questions or comments into the episode. So, for tonight's episode, my guest is an extended part of my family, actually. We've known each other since 1995 when we were teammates in Austria, in Kapfenberg to be exact. And we played 4 seasons together, and one season as opponents. And I'll get to that more about that in a minute. Gotta tease my guest a little bit. Um, yeah, his oldest children call me Uncle Scene. My oldest son calls him Uncle Mike. I mean, our families kind of grew up together. Um, Not only is he the smartest point guard I ever played with, but he's a dear friend, you know. And so Mike Coffin is a former pro and also is a coach. He's been the head coach of the Austrian national team. He's won 4 titles in a row, 2 Supercups in Austria. He got his start in Austria's second division, where he led his teams to 3 promotions, and got to develop his style in that time. Um, he took also another coaching gig in Austria in Wales, where they placed second. And yeah, as a head coach in the first league, he's won two league titles, 3 cups, and 3 Super Cups. So not only has he won as a player, but he's also won as a coach, and that's what we'll talk a little bit about today. And like I said before, this will be one of my most personal interviews because it's actually someone I know very personal since 27 years, and not someone I met online through Instagram, which is not a bad thing either. So now let me get my guest in here. They're drinking something or he's eating something. Let's see. He'll be in here in a second. There we go. There's my old friend.
What's up, Sean?
What's good, man?
All
I
good,
see.
man.
I see you got the old man glasses like me, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, right here, as usual, I like to tell everyone how we met, but I actually already did that. That we're teammates for 4 years, and we've known each other for since 1995, so 27 years or so. Um, and yeah, our families are close, and our kids are close, and yeah, I'm Uncle Scene for your kids, and your Uncle Mike for mine. So that's always a really nice thing when teammates become family. You know, it's rare, but it happens. So, yeah, let's get started. Um, Let me tell everyone that you and I lived together my first year overseas, together with Johnny Griffin. Um, what was it like living with me, man?
Uh, yeah, you know how you were. You were a little bit that young kid was still in you, kind of still this uh college kid. Didn't really like to wash dishes. Ate out of pots. Uh, Noodle, top
Those
ramen out of the
the
pot.
ramen noodles, yeah,
Yeah. So now, but it was, we had a great time at that time,
yeah.
and it was pretty much new for both of us at that time. And I mean, Johnny being over here a couple years helped us a little bit, but it was three 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 bachelors living in one apartment. It was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
it was pretty fun.
we don't need to go too much into detail about the 3 bachelors and living in the same apartment. We don't need to go there. So, yeah, what I wanted to say is that you were really important for the development of my life, actually, not just basketball wise, but also off the court, because as those of you that know me know that I broke my leg my first season. And I think if it wasn't one of the people that really helped me out was Mike, because he kept my spirits up. That was my first injury ever. And so that was, I think, 2 months after I got to Kapfenberg that I broke my leg, 2 or 3 months. So I was pretty down. And Mike really was one of those people who kept my spirits up, him and Johnny as well, even though they both cheated in spades all the time. But they
We
kept my
still do.
spirits up. Yeah, I know. And that's why I'm not playing y'all in spades no more. Ever again. Ever again. They used to gang up on me. So this is how the interview will go. We'll talk a little bit about your athletic career, then we'll talk coaching and a little bit into your personal side outside of uh, the game. Oh, Jurgen Kogler. I see you, buddy. How you doing, man? Another teammate from those old Kapfenberg days.
Kogli,
Uh,
Smogli.
Kogler. Kogler's for sure got a beer in his head right now. So first question, man. Um, Before we get into the real interview, tell the people out there, be my hype man. Tell them how good I was back in the day.
Yeah, you were a pretty talented guy. Should I tell the whole story? That
No,
you're a little bit on the foul side, on the lazy side. Nah, Sean was a excellent basketball player. I mean, 6'8", 6'9", however tall he is. Could do a little bit of everything. I think sometimes it was a little bit easy for him. I just remember the first time he practiced with us, he was diving all over the floor, and then we never saw that shit again. But once he got that contract, it was over. But that first year before he broke his leg, I think both him and Johnny were averaging close to 30 a game, and it was, talented guy. Just maybe wrong place, wrong time. But I think he was
but
pretty
it worked out.
satisfied. I think he
It
was
worked out.
satisfied in the end with his career, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like I said before, you're one of the best point guards I ever played with, and like how you read the game was incredible. And um, you always what I really liked playing with you was you always knew when I needed a shot. Okay, not just me, but also the others on the team. And you would then call a play that was for me and put me in a good position to score. Um, that's what I loved about playing with you the most. Not the most athletic guy, but somehow also not the best defender, but somehow would end up with 3 or 4 steals, 10 assists, and so that's what was great, great playing by your side. So you went to Biola University. Back then, what was Biola? NAIA?
NAIA school, yeah.
And that was before you
But
came
first,
in.
back to that defensive part. I didn't play good on-ball defense, but I was pretty good off the ball. But go ahead.
That's why you ended up with a lot of steals, because you played good off-ball defense, but
Okay.
you would let the guy get by you, and I would have to block a shot.
Yeah, exactly. Help
Yeah,
the helper. Help
yeah.
the helper.
Okay, okay. So, so before you came to Europe, you were at Biola University. Then you were in Wuppertal, Germany. How did it come to playing in Wuppertal, Germany? Wuppertal was in the Regionalliga at that time.
Regionalliga. The thing was I had to when I left Biola, I had a tryout with the Utah Jazz, and I had to get an agent. I never even thought about really playing basketball overseas, but this call came that they wanted me to come to this
The
training
summer
camp,
league.
so for summer league in Utah, and you needed an agent. So I got this guy who was a friend of my brother's, and yeah, I went to this training camp in Utah. Of course, didn't make it, and then the agent who I had, he knew a guy from Germany, and the guy from Germany called him and said they were looking for somebody. And yeah, I said, okay, I'm going to try it for 1 year. My plan was to play 1 year overseas, and still here. So that's how it went down. That's how I got to Wuppertal. It was just more of like a amateur pro type thing. We practiced 3 times a week. Only at night, played a game on the weekend. No internet at that time. No Eurostep. No Instagram. Just the USA Today,
Yeah.
MTV, and CNN. That's what it
Yeah.
was back then.
So you weren't a full professional when you were in Wuppertal. I know what job you had. So tell people, what job did you do besides being a semi-pro in Wuppertal?
That wasn't in Wuppertal though. That was in when I went
Obereltingen?
to Oberelchingen when I was
Oh.
trying to get the passport. I was working on a construction site in the morning. We go there like 7 in the morning, work till like 3, come to practice. I remember one time in practice, I actually, because we had so many guys there, and I wasn't really part of that professional team in Oberelchingen. I fell asleep one time, like sitting on the sideline, because I was so tired from working at the Baustelle.
What were you doing? Building houses?
Nah, well, I mean, they were building. I was just kind of doing all the odd jobs, and they were basically drinking beers the whole time.
So your career really picked up once you got to Austria, right? So what do you remember the most about those early days in Austria, those early years?
um, a lot of running. Uh, that's what I mean, one story. I don't know if yeah, you had to have been here. The one story still sticks out to me when our coach had us run that mountain and we weren't
Oh
fast
yeah.
enough. And he said go around again. That story sticks out. The nights that we were supposed to go running and went to the guest house with Wolfie as our captain, buying drinks for everybody. Drinks, I mean Coke or water, or whatever we weren't, and then go to practice. But I mean, it was good. That team that we had, the thing I remember the most is like the closeness we had, even with not just me, you, and Johnny as the Americans on the team, but just the closeness of that whole team. It was really, I think that's what, besides the basketball part, that's what I remember the most, man. We were always hanging out together, and Corny and Joachim and all them guys, man. It was really good times with those guys, and really having, that's what I remember the most.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Kapfenberg is a pretty small town, probably like 15,000, 20,000 people. So it was it was back then there was no internet. It was like really the stone ages of European basketball. And uh we were the three pros, full pros, and then was Mo also full pro back then?
Mo was a full pro, yeah.
Yeah, then we had an
The
Austrian
first year
national
he was
team
a full
player
pro,
who
yeah.
was a full pro, and really the rest were young guys. So that was back in the day when the Americans were pretty much forced to play 35 to 40 minutes and take every shot, um, and really decide the outcome of games. And we were fortunate because we had three Americans. We had me, Mike as an American, and we had Johnny Griffin, who was an American but had played in Kapfenberg for a long time, and he had an Austrian passport. So that's why I was able to come then as after he got the Austrian passport. And I mean, like you said, the run-in, that story is classic, just running up that mountain and coming down was worse with the little rocks and you couldn't get your feeding. It was terrible, man. It was terrible. But you're right. The closeness of that team was really, really what set us apart. Also with the young guys and just our coach at the time, Mickey Schweitzer, he was also a young coach. That was like his second or third season when I came. So and he had just retired then to take over the coaching reins, and so we all kind of grew together. And I guess that's what was our advantage, right?
Yeah, I would agree, man. As we were all pretty young except for Johnny, and and I mean as far as like playing professional basketball, and it was just a growing period for the whole team, and actually the club itself was just a growing period. And I think it was probably, yeah, probably some of the best times basketball wise, even though we didn't win a championship at that time, but basketball wise and outside of basketball, just life in general was pretty fun. I think for everybody that was around this club.
Yeah, yeah. And now, I mean, if you look back on when that was like 1995 when I came, and if you look at the development of Kapfenberg as a club and Austrian basketball in general, it's miles away from how it was when we played there, and how the team is developed and playing in Euro League, or not Euro League, but European Cup and things like that. So it's I think we were the catalyst for that. and I'm proud of that. You know, I'm really proud of what we did, even though when we were teammates, we didn't win a championship, which brings me to my next point.
But wait a minute, if you wouldn't have broke your leg, we might have had a chance. It's your
Yeah,
fault.
but I broke my leg. I broke my leg. We for sure would have won if I wouldn't have broken my leg. But we're not going to talk about what were we, three times third and one time second while I was
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And then that next year, that fifth season, my fifth season, then I left and joined Treiskirchen. And that's what I want to talk about right now because I've got the one up on you. Actually, I've got the two up on you. You didn't win a championship until after I left. And who
Yeah.
did I win? Who did we win the cup and the title against?
Well, you guys
Oh, there's
got
no well.
lucky that I twisted my ankle in that cup game. Weren't we up 22, or was that the next year?
No, that wasn't my year.
So that
That was
was the
that was
next year.
that was
My
after
bad.
that was
My
after I was
bad. I'm
gone.
a little old. I kind of lose track of seasons.
After
You
after I
guys,
left, then that's when you were finally able to win a title. So be, buy me a beer next time you see me and thank me for leaving.
okay. How about I thank Ron Riley for leaving?
Yeah, that's probably that's that's probably
him and him and him and what was his name? Point guard
Dominic Ellison.
Dominic Ellison. Yeah. How about I thank
Yeah.
those guys?
Okay. Okay. So after I left, you won a championship and the cup the next season, right?
I never won a cup as a player.
You never
We
won a
were up.
cup as a player?
No, that next year was the year we were up 22 at halftime, and then I twisted my ankle, and we wound up losing also to your old team
To try Skiing out.
in the cup final. Yeah, up 22 to start the second half, and I twisted my ankle, and yeah, that was probably the most painful loss I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
being up 22 is and losing is tough. That's
Yeah,
gotta hurt. I
yeah.
I think for me the worst loss during that time when we were teammates was losing against St. Polten in the finals. That was bad. That was
Of
bad
the
for me.
cup.
No, the finals.
Oh
When
yeah,
we
yeah,
took
okay.
second.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was that was probably my most painful defeat that series.
Yeah.
They were good,
Yeah,
but
I mean, they were pretty tough. They had, three guys with passports and stuff, and whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But that I don't want to say we were kind of expected to lose, but that
yeah.
was okay for me. That I mean, not okay that we lost, but never okay to lose. But it was just that cup game. I think was the hardest defeat that I've had.
Mm.
I would say.
So you win a bunch of titles in Austria. You moved to Greece shortly. What happened in Greece? Well, where were you?
I was in Athens actually. I was on a team there. I was basically going there as a replacement player for 2 months. And while I was there, at that time you could only register one Bosman player. So I was there for a good 2 months, and no, sorry, I was there a good 4 to 5 weeks, and before the first game. And before the first game started, they had brought in another Bosman guy from a different position, and they wanted to register him because they knew their point guard would be back. He was actually coming back quicker than expected. So I never really played a game there. It was fun. It was like a paid vacation in Athens for 5 weeks. Best gyros ever, and but again, pretty boring because still like. No real like internet at that time still. I mean, kind
It's
of, but not
dial-up.
really. And then, you had to go to internet cafe to check emails and stuff, and it was like, but it was cool. I mean, it was just like I said, a 5 week paid vacation, and then I came back to Austria.
I thought you went to Basel after that.
No, I played in Vertice 1 year.
Ah, okay, yeah. And
That
then,
next year I came like in, that's when they had Thomas Kelly at the time. And he had hurt his ankle and he's going to be out about 8 weeks. And they signed me. It was like November, and I was there pretty much the rest of the year. We had it was also a very talented team there. I think we wound up losing to Gmund in the semifinals, but also good experience with some very good guys at that time.
and then after that, you went to Basel. You went
Right,
to Switzerland. You were
right.
3 years in Basel, right?
Four,
Oh,
4 years.
what was that experience like for you there?
It was different. Just because it wasn't the team had just moved up from the second division, so it wasn't super professional as like I'd been kind of accustomed to. Because
Right.
even in Vertice, it was also a pretty professional situation there with morning practices and everything. In Basel, I mean, I was 35 when I went there, so it was pretty cool for me, but not for the other guys, like the younger players and younger American guys. There was no fixed morning practices. I mean, we did them on our own, and I kind of did them for the guys. We went to the weight room together, and I kind of did the practices and stuff in the morning for the American guys and whoever wanted to come, because our coach he had a full-time job at like the VMV of Switzerland. But it was a good situation for me because I was able to do like some coaching already there and stuff like that, and the coach there let me do that stuff. So it was a good start in like my next phase of my life.
So you were able to kind of get your feet wet, and is that when the wheels started turning? Or I mean, you already knew that you were going to be a coach. It was obvious that you were going to be a coach.
I mean, it was pretty clear that's what I wanted to do, and it like you said, it was pretty much the start of that whole situation. So because he gave me the opportunity to do some things there as far as like putting in plays, putting in defensive things and stuff like that. Because obviously he had a full-time job and he wasn't able to do all that stuff, and I took it upon myself to also, like when we first got there, it's pretty crazy because you're used to watching video and stuff, and then especially for us guys that didn't play in Switzerland before, didn't know the league, and we got there and we were like, who we playing? What can you do? Can this guy? If I remember the first game, I think it was against Sion, and all they talked about was the two guys that used to play in Basel, who were playing there and what they can do. But I was thinking, what about the other guys? What can they do? And it was a pretty tough situation, not knowing. But it was the way it was because it was a second division club, and then we also grew in those 4 years that I was there, where we started watching video then after games, before games, and stuff like that. So it was also just like a growing process over there. So, but it like I said, it helped me in my coaching start basically.
So after you played in Basel, you retired. You retired playing in Basel. What was the next stop?
Actually, I didn't retire. I was a player coach the next year in the second division, and I actually played in 2010 and 11. I played about 15 games for Vienna still in Austria.
Right.
I was like 40, 41, and I was working all day and going to play practice and stuff all night. So
Austrian basketball, gotta love it.
yeah, but pretty much I was pretty much there in Mattersburg then as after that first year of player coach. Then I basically started coaching over there. I
And
only
at
play
that
I only
time,
played in the first division again because the team Vienna, I would go practice with them just to kind of do something, stay in shape. And then they had a bunch of guys that got hurt, and they asked me if I would play some games. And I told them, well, I'm not going to play until after Christmas because I was going home to see my son. And then after Christmas, I came and played some games, and they had like everybody on the team was hurt, and we were playing with like five guys, and it was pretty. I was 40 years old playing like 35 minutes a game. It was pretty tough.
Uh, if I know you right, then you found ways to conserve your energy,
Yeah, it
probably on the
was
defensive end.
3 point line to 3 point line.
So then you started coaching in Mattersburg, and they were in the second league at that time. Um, how important was it for your development to coach under not the bright lights of the first league, but to get your start in the second league and have a great deal of success there as well?
It was the thing was it was there in Mattersburg. We had a group of guys where they had all played in the first
The
division
first league.
before. Most
Mhm.
of them played in the first league before, so it was pretty easy to coach them. Also because also it was like how it was for me when I played in Germany. We practiced like 3 times a week, 3 times a week. So I kind of knew how that was for the guys, what they needed. And basically we just um, put in a few schemes on defense, few sets, and I let them play a lot in practice because what else you want to do and with I mean those guys they worked all day. So it was a good situation to coach also guys that knew how to play basketball or knew how to play basketball who were used to playing higher level basketball, and it was that was pretty easy, and it gave me also a lot of confidence as a coach to know what which direction I was going. So
I
and we
mean,
won, so that also makes it
exactly.
also
That's what I
makes it
want to
fun.
say. That's what I want to say. How many times did you win promotion to the first league? Three?
We won title there three times, but we just never were able to move up because we didn't.
Have the money.
They had the Vorstand there, the committee there. They had 7 points on their list, or 10, or I can't remember exactly, of things that needed to be fulfilled for them to move to the first division.
Right.
And we were always about two of the points short of what they wanted to do there
Achieve. Mhm.
and achieve. And this is why they never moved up. I mean, it's great fan base over there, and there was very good players. The young program there wasn't producing really players, but Vienna's not super far from there, so it was a place where you could get some players. But they just never fulfilled all those things, and they said they don't want to move to the first division if they don't have these fulfilled. And we respected that
Right.
and just moved on. It was unfortunate because it was very very good. Also, like how it was as me as a player with the team that we were talking about earlier, this team was just like that. They were, I mean, hanging out
Close.
together, going everything. They were friends from other teams that came together, and I mean those guys from that team, they still hang out together now and go on vacation and stuff like that. It was like how me and you became family. Is a lot of those guys also became family, and they're still hanging out together. They called me actually yesterday and asked me if I wanted to come join them in Mattersburg and play some pickup games tonight. But I told them I was going to a soccer game with Noah, and then I had this. So, and those, like I said, those guys still hang out together to this day.
So what was your first league job? Wells?
Wells.
And how you were there 3 years, two and a half?
I was there 2 years. 2 years.
And you
Uh,
play second, you play second 1 year. And so how was it then? How was it for you to be then in the first league and you're coaching against your not only your former team, but also players that you played against? How was that an unusual situation for you?
um, it was kind of an advantage because you played against these guys, so you kind of knew what they did and stuff like that. But it was a totally new experience because kind of took over a team where you had some veteran guys, and just a tough place to not tough place to coach, but you got to win. It's not like taking over a team
High
from the bottom.
expectations.
High expectations, and playing with high amount of foreigners, and we started out pretty bad. I think we started out 0-4, And the first year, and your first job, you start out 0-4, and you're thinking, how long am I going to be here? And I'm glad I kept my apartment in Vienna because this and that. But it we had some troubles with not troubles with players, but we had we had to find the right mix there. And then I think at the end of the year, we wound up winning like 10 games in a row, going also including some playoff games, and it was it turned out to be a real successful season. I mean, there was the top team at the time. I mean, nobody in the record book knows this, but the top team at the time had to fold because they couldn't pay their bills. But hey, that wasn't our problem. We wound up making the finals, and that was big success for our team and for how we really started and everything.
Right. And at what point did you start coaching national teams? You started with the under 18 national team, then you became assistant coach with the men's team, and then you ended up being head coach. How did that all start to come together for you?
After my second year, no, first year in Wales, can't remember. They asked me if I wanted to coach the under 18 national team, and I was like, yeah, sure. Um, and After that, that was I mean, it was we had a decent ending, or the beginning didn't start that well. Uh, my best guard actually tore his ACL in our second to last tune-up game. Erzak, who plays now in Tübingen in Germany,
In
and that
Germany?
hurt us pretty bad. We had very good big guys, and we had some young guards. But with him in there, I think we would have done a lot better. But anyways, after that, the federation wanted that under 18 coach is the assistant national team coach.
Mm.
So I took over that position then with Coach Zollner at the time, and it was really good experience being there and playing these top nations, Serbia and the teams that we played. Um, and then I became the coach after they released him. Then I was for 6 games or 7 games, no, maybe 8. I did the last 2 games of the World Cup. There, when I saw you in Braunschweig, was my first game, and then we had one more game in Georgia. Unfortunately, on the way to Georgia, Jakob Pertl developed a blister on his heel, and the Spurs didn't allow him to play after that. But it was a really good experience. And then the next, we did the European Championships, and we wound up winning some games with this highlighted game in England when Sylvain Landesberg scored like 50. So that was a pretty good experience to just sit there and watch that, not having to coach anything.
Just
Just
give them the
watching the
ball and let them
score.
go.
So no, but it was some good. Also a good group of guys with those guys that were there, with Tommy and Thomas Schreiner and Momo. These guys leading that group, and Rashid and Yozo and all if I missed anybody's name, I'm sorry, but just a great group of guys. Also a close knit, and this is what makes teams actually click. I feel is having a close knit and not too many own agendas and stuff like that. So it was good. It was fun. Unfortunately, that came to an end. That's a whole different story for another day off
Another
camera.
time.
But yeah.
Um, I mean, let's face it, Austria is not a huge basketball fanatic country. Anything that has to do with snow, skiing, stuff like that, Austria is very well known for. How was it to coach a team, a national team that nobody really had on the radar? Nobody was expecting very much from Austria, I would assume. How was it being a constant underdog in that sense?
Um, it was. I mean, it was at that. It was tough because that first game, especially when we played against Germany, nobody
Germany.
expected us to be even close. And we actually, I think we had a good chance to win that game, from what I remember. Just at the end, we lost it, and then going again, like you said, being an underdog, going to Georgia, also without Jakob. I think the guys also knowing that Jakob wasn't playing and that I mean it was really nothing to play for either because we were out of the World Cup. It was more like just to kind of be there. It was still fun. And then we played these other games against England and Cyprus, and I think against Cyprus we were supposed to win, which we did. England, we weren't supposed to win that game. I think they were a little bit surprised well how good Sylvan was. I mean, the other guys were fighting their ass off. I mean, I remember that game when Momo just locked up the one guy they had from Hessen, or Hessen, I think, was playing in France. A big time player, and just fighting out there. And like you said, being the underdog was different, and nobody expecting Austria to win. But I think they didn't know what to expect also from Sylvan because they weren't sure. Nobody had seen him play before, really. It's just everybody heard about him, and then he was so good. And you're kind of like, okay, we got Sylvan now. We're gonna win a lot of games, and it was a good experience, like I said, and also I don't know, underdog status. I'm not sure it was always the case, but like you said, Austria is not known for basketball. So if they do win, especially at that time, I think Austria is a little bit more known for basketball now because we do have, or not known for it, but it's getting better. We do have so many players playing abroad that it's kind of helping the national team situation here.
So now let's move to your return to Kapfenberg as a coach. That was in December. That was towards the middle of the season, right? When you returned to Kapfenberg as coach, right?
It was actually January 1st of 2018. That was my first
So
day. Was
I
working
mean,
back
you played there for many years. You won titles as a player. You coached against them. You're a legend in Austrian basketball, and you are now coaching where you spent a great deal of time and had a lot of success. Did you immediately feel pressure coming back to Kapfenberg? Did you feel that there were a lot of expectations of you? I mean, you're Mike Coffin, and that's Kapfenberg, and do you think that right away you were expected to win?
there. I mean, they had just won the championship the year before and the cup, and the Super Cup before I got there, and we had a great group of guys there. So yes, we were expected to win. Uh, my first few games there, I mean, we just picked it up another level. I mean, Mickey, who was here before, had them formed into a group where they were like a well-oiled machine, and I just took them to a different level. I think we beat Wales by 30 or 40, and we beat Graz, I think, that year by 50 or something like that after I took over, and we won a few games there in a row when I started. And I mean, anytime you coach a team that's used to winning and winning championships, I mean, it's a pretty pressure filled situation. Of course, also you don't want to. I was super excited too because my son Mark was on the team, so it was also a great joy of being able to coach him and hang out with him every day in the gym and stuff like that. But yes, a lot of pressure to win games here.
You talked about your son Mark being a part of that team. Was it difficult for you to coach Monkey? I mean, was it difficult for you to coach Mark? I can't be calling him by he's a grown man now. I can't be calling him by his nickname.
Wasn't easy for him to coach. I think I was probably a little bit because he was my son. I was probably harder on him than the other people, which probably wasn't always exactly the right thing. But it was just it was one of the reasons why I came to Kaffenberg, was to be able to be with him and coach him and stuff like that. But I think we both knew that on the floor. I mean, because he's the the ultimate professional, or he was when he played. He knew, and I knew that on the court it was, boss and
Business.
player, and off the court it was dad. So, and we both knew that, and we both accepted that role. So it was pretty easy because, I mean, Mark, for the people that don't know him, he's a very easygoing kid, and he's not, has never been a back talker or somebody like this, and it was super easy. It was super easy coaching him. It was, and wish I could have done it longer, but yeah.
Um, one of my favorite memories about when we were teammates was everybody knew that um, when you started to talk shit to somebody and you got upset, you were about to ball out. So we were kind of all like waiting, like, is he gonna start talking shit? Because we knew you were gonna just explode. That's number one. Number two is back when you had hair, and that hair used to kind of flop around when you were running around. It was like those two things. The hair started going, and you started talking shit to people. Then we knew we're gonna be in a good shape, right? Did you see any of that in Mark? Besides the hair.
uh,
Besides the hair.
no, the thing I still remember. I give you two quick stories, one about me and one about Mark. I remember we playing in the finals in Gemuten, and we were staying in the hotel the night before, and I read in the paper there down in the area there, they said they told the people through the paper that they need to stop talking, like the fans and stuff need to stop talking shit to me because it makes them play better. They said, just leave them alone, don't boo them, don't say nothing to them, just leave them alone, just keep quiet. And the second story is when I started coaching Mark here, and there was a guy from Ovat. His name was Hayden Lescal, and he was trying to talk shit to Mark, and Mark wouldn't say nothing to him. And he came over to me, and he was like, he just don't talk, does he? I was like, nope, you can talk shit to him all you want. He's not gonna say not one word back to you. He's the total opposite of me.
So
But he
what
has
did you
hair
talk shit then to him?
to Hayden. I didn't talk shit as a coach unless somebody said something to me first. So I tried to, I don't know,
You
uh,
grew. You grew.
respect the game or whatever it
Right.
is. So as a
Right.
coach, I didn't say anything, and but I would talk to the players, but if they said something to me, you can be sure I said something back.
So let's fast forward a little bit. You win more titles in Kaffenberg. But this season, this current season was a tough one, right? So I mean, let's not talk or talk around the bush, right? Let's not beat around the bush. It was a tough one. And you were recently, well, in a couple of months ago, you were let go. Just like I do, coaches are hired to be fired. There's nothing wrong with a coach being fired. It happens. It's part of the business. But after having so much success, uh, we're not even going to talk about as a player because being a player and coaching is two totally different worlds. But especially after having such a uh, successful career as a coach there, uh, did you feel like this decision to let you go was maybe a little bit rushed?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it was a tough year. I mean, we had I told the management early on in the year that there was a couple guys on the team that I felt were not good for the team, um, for whatever reason, or I couldn't coach them, and they weren't willing to release them, and with two new players, I don't know if it would have been different or not. Who knows that? But that was my feeling for the team, and I was released. I think also a little bit too early with all the success and stuff. I think I mean, you can't win the championship every year, even though everybody wants to. But this is just what happened, and yeah.
Yeah,
I do agree with your thing that it maybe was a little bit premature. But as you said,
it's
coaches
business.
are hired to be fired, and they say you're not a coach until you're fired. So I guess I'm a coach now.
Congratulations. Um, so, I mean, because I can give my personal opinion because this is my show, and I know the ins and outs of that club from afar. Of course, I followed the team because you were there. From afar, it looked like you guys struggled a little bit early, and then you had, issues with injuries, also with COVID issues, like just like everyone. So everybody had to go through that kind of stuff this year. And you weren't that successful in the FIBA Cup as well. Um, I wish they would have given you more time or let you play this season out or coach this season out to prove that it was a fluke and it wasn't that you just all of a sudden stopped coaching, right? Um, but for me, it's like they've gone 5-9 without you there. So obviously it wasn't just the coach. Obviously there were some issues going around that club, that team that are still there. I don't know anyone from that team, but I've seen some games on the internet and things like that, and I know basketball. Um, I know that club, and you can't tell me that you get rid of a coach because you're not being as successful, and then you go 5-9 and you're struggling in the playoffs. But that's another thing. Um, I just wish they would have given you, like I said before, the time to finish this one out to prove that next year, that the year before was a fluke. But we all know how it is. It's a business, and you're not the one making the decisions, and you just have to roll with it. So there was some talk about you moving, still being a part of the club, maybe in the youth department, heading the youth department. What came of all of that? What are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm not doing anything. I'm on paid vacation still, and we've had some talks, and they asked me actually what do I want to do in the club? What do I see myself doing in the club? Uh, there was I told them they we the last talk we had they kind of offered me to coach this second division team that we have and to be part of the academy there. And that's where we are at the moment. Haven't spoken with them in the last I would say it's been about 3 weeks. But that was the last talk we had, and they were gonna put something down on paper and offer that to me, but I haven't heard back from them till now, which is okay. I mean, they're in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
They're
it's
starting the playoffs and all that, so
yeah.
I'm not trying to force anybody's action here. But that was the last talks we had.
So I mean, considering that you're not coaching on a day-to-day right now, I'm sure your wife Connie and the kids are glad to have dad home and around. But as I know you burn to coach and you want to get back out there. Can you see yourself coaching maybe at the start of next season?
I mean, pretty much everything. You're right. It's I'm not a person that wants to stay at home. It's been a little. The first month was cool, and and like you said, family's happy and everything. But it's getting pretty boring now. But yeah, I mean, like I said, every option is on the table. I just wait to see what they say here, and because this is like home base basically, and just going to go from there and see what happens. I mean, there has been some interest from outside of Austria and stuff, but until all that stuff is on paper, and
Right,
if you really want to leave the fam and stuff like that is all a whole different ball game.
right.
So, but everything is open at the moment. I haven't shut any doors to anything. Just going to kind of see how this next 30 to 50 days plays out and go from there.
Um, let's talk about once you start coaching again, right? What is your thought process, or what do you look for when you are interested in a player, whether he be foreign or domestic, it doesn't matter. What are the things that you look at when you're thinking about signing a player as a coach?
Main thing I'm looking at is, I mean, everybody can play nowadays. I mean, you can find 50 guys at every position that are the same, that can play, that'll play for the same money. I'm looking for attitude, for body language, for how he is with his teammates and stuff like that. This is the most important thing, because you can have 5 guys that are top players, but if they have the wrong attitude and the wrong chemistry and it's not going to work. And this is the main things that I'm looking for is body language and character and these kind of things, because you need guys that you can coach. I mean, let's call it what it is. Nowadays, coaching guys is totally different than the way we were coached.
Right.
This is not sugarcoating anything. We got a bunch of different characters nowadays, let's call them, and you have to really pander their needs. Kind of, you need them to. It's also different coaching than it is playing. Which, I mean, you know yourself. You've done both. When you're playing, it's all on you to make sure you have a next job. And when you're coaching, you rely on 12 other guys, 15 other guys, and this is the toughest part. But back to the question, is character, mostly character, and if they're hard workers, because with hard workers you can win anything. That's for sure.
Okay, I mean, you kind of said that I was lazy, right? But I was
win.
pretty fucking talented, right?
Yeah.
Would you have recruited me? Oh, you got to think that long?
Nah, the thing is not. I mean, back then, maybe not, because I also, what I look for in players is I look for players that, and now I'm being like, there's nothing against you, but totally honest. But players back then that played at like 2-3 different universities, something wasn't adding up. You know, something wasn't. Maybe there wasn't something wrong, but you always had that red flag.
Right.
Nowadays, because of the transfer portals and everything, you can transfer all over. You know, now it's not as bad. But like, you know, 10 years ago or 20 years ago when we played, if you went to 2 different colleges, I probably wouldn't recruit you, because
that's hurt, man. I thought we was boys, man. Damn, you just gonna put me on blast on my own show. Jeez.
But if you would have stayed at Arizona, then you probably wouldn't have been in Austria anyways.
Well, yeah.
How about that?
Okay, I'll give you that one.
How about
I'll
that?
give you that one. I'll give you that one. So, all right, that's it with the normal questions. Now I got a couple of quick answer questions. This first one, I love this first question. So it is little known that you had a guest role on Baywatch as David Hasselhoff's stunt double in a basketball scene. You had a wig and everything. After that experience, did you ever consider going into acting and not playing basketball anymore?
Not really, because that was also like a one-time thing, just something my agent hooked up. I did have but that was kind of crazy. I forgot to go. We were playing a pickup at Biola, and the assistant coach came in and he was like, there's a casting for movie Blue Chips, and we all forgot to go. That would have been cool though. That was basically the only other TV thing I could have maybe, but that was, we just forgot to go. He told us before pickup, we left, and then everybody forgot about it because nobody ever went, and we just kind of forgot. But that would have been a good experience too.
For sure.
But I think Baywatch was my one and only thing. If you guys want to check it, it's season 3, episode 10. It's called Lifeguards Can't Jump. That's me dunking at the end.
it's amazing to me that you know the episode number and
Come on,
everything.
man. You
That's
can't. If
amazing.
you were in a TV show, you can't forget that, man. Again, season 3, episode 10. Lifeguards can't jump.
Okay. Compare your game to somebody in the NBA, still active or not, it doesn't matter. Who was your game like?
Uh, Phew. I would say I was more like Jason Kidd without
That's what I was gonna say.
without his defense, but I was a better shooter.
Okay, I
Let's
go with
let's
that.
let's say that.
Yeah,
Something
that's right. That's right.
something like that.
Okay. That's what I would have said too. Um, so I know you're a Lakers fan. Who's the greatest Laker of all time?
Okay, at the moment, I'm not a Lakers fan because I'm a LeBron hater, and I have no problem saying it. My greatest Laker of all time, man,
You got to take one person.
I can't. 1A, 1B.
No, you get one shot. You're under the gun.
Magic Bryant.
Ha! Good
I'd
try.
have to
Good
go.
try.
I'd have to go with Magic.
Okay.
I'd have to go
Um,
with Magic.
what advice about European ball do you wish you knew coming out of college?
Hmm.
It was a different time back then, but still.
It was a different time, and I like nowadays or even then, like guys were going overseas to play. I didn't see myself like playing basketball. You know what I mean? I only continued to play because I had that NBA tryout and then that Wuppertal thing. I never expected to go. I wasn't even thinking about playing basketball. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
don't even know what I could think to even say. I mean, what I would tell people today is expect the unexpected when you're in overseas because it's just how it is. You could
Yeah.
you could be in this. You could come from New York and play in a smaller city even than Kaffenberg. You know, I remember
Right.
now when we were in Slovakia in the preseason, we played in a city over there. It was smaller than Kaffenberg. It was like being up in Afflens, you know, like 2,000 people in the city, you know, and you come from New York and you got to live there. I mean, I got another story about a guy in Basel. He came for a tryout, and he I think he would have been pretty good too. And he asked the coach. He said, um, "I need English TV," and he said, "We ain't no English TV here." He said, "I got to go home then." He went home because there was no English TV. I mean, again, that was before you could stream everything and Netflix
Right.
and all that. But that's the tough times that we played in, you know. And now it's totally different. I mean, you got FaceTime and all this. You can still stay close with your family. But it was amazing that he just said, "I can't be here because we don't have English TV," and he went home like 2 days later.
Well, he got back home to watch his shows then.
Yeah,
Um, what's one thing you never forget to bring back to Austria after you go to America?
seasoned salt, seasoned salt and syrup. Those are
I
the
mean,
two main things.
okay, the seasoned salt I got you all, but you can get syrup out here, man.
You can now, but back then you couldn't.
No, I mean like now, when you go home, what's the one?
Now, probably just probably seasoned salt and yeah, that's about it. Seasoned salt. Sometimes toothpaste because got your favorite toothpaste from home, Crest. But yeah, that's probably mainly just seasoned salt.
What's the best thing about being a coach?
Relationships that you develop with players. Uh, One of my favorite players that I coached was Dewan Wright in Wales, and still have a relationship with him. We talk, you know, we don't talk. We talk like me and you do. Like, you know, we if we talk like 2 months later, it's like still like nothing changed. Like we never left off. And
Yeah.
this, I think, relationships are the relationships and the competition are the best part.
What's one thing you miss about playing?
I think competition, just this like adrenaline you get of playing basketball and being out there with your guys. And but I would say competition of competing
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
I don't miss preseason. I don't miss practices, but I miss game days.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
You weren't
yeah,
one.
man.
You weren't one to like preseason. That's for sure.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You're killing me right now. You got these people. You're killing me, dog. Come on. Really? On my own show? Really? You're just gonna
Nah, but
bash me like that?
nah, nobody likes preseason. I had to agree with you. I had to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, man. Good try. Good cover up.
Preseason the work. The thing is, like nowadays, is like it seems like guys stay in better shape though than
Yeah,
like we did back then. I
yeah.
think it's because back then we just kind of went and played pickup with our friends when we went home,
There was no
and
structure.
no strict. And now they're just doing all these individual workouts and stuff, which are, I mean, they're okay, but half the guys don't know how to play basketball. They know how to do all these workouts, but they can't cut and move and stuff like that. So, but I think guys stay. So I don't think preseason has to be as hard nowadays because the guys they do a better job of staying in shape than we did back then. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
that's true. That's true. All right, man. You hit the shot at the buzzer. That's all. That's all I got for the questions, man. Thanks again for being a part of this format and putting me on blast on my own show. Thanks a lot, and for being my
You know,
friend.
hey, you know, I had to always keep you grounded, man. I just had to keep you grounded.
Thank you
That
for
was,
being my friend for the past 27 years. That friendship might be over after today, but okay. Um, and so to my teammates out there, please support my good friend Mike Coffin and what he's trying to do. And when he eventually starts pacing the sidelines again, give him some support. And yeah, and thanks, Mike, for coming on. Go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna say goodbye to the teammates, and I'm gonna call you and curse you out after I get off this live. But
I still love you, man. I
I
still
love you
love you.
too, man. Get on up out of here.
You know,
Kiss the kids for me.
I always keep it real, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You ain't never gonna be on another one of my shows ever again. You can win 9,000 championships, and your ass will not get on my show ever again.
Love you too, brother.
All right, man. Get out of here.
Peace.
Later. So, teammates, I hope you enjoyed my most personal interview yet, and I got blasted quite a bit, but that goes. Mike, what got us watching EuroLeague right now? So yeah, so thank you for tuning in and that was a really fun interview to have one of my closest friends on. And like I said before, please give him a follow and follow his journey, his coaching journey when he starts pacing the sidelines again. I've got a side note to that. Mike was always a really smart player, and I was more instinctive. And I always thought that I would coach as well. And somehow I always thought that I would always be Mike's assistant coach at some point because I thought I didn't want the responsibility of being a head coach. And I thought he's a much better coach than me. Probably was. But that's crazy how things change and all these years he's still coaching and I'm doing my thing and but you know we're brothers. That's my guy. So that's it for my side note. Thank you once again for joining, everyone. Just realized that my mission for this and everything that I do is to give positive and correct information to those who need it. So if you see anything that you think can help someone else, please share it. Every like, every comment is well appreciated. But that's not why I do this. I hope that this reaches someone who needs some kind of information and it helps them have a much better career than I even had. So once again, thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. every one of you that tuned in, and I will have everything up on my YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you know someone that might need some good information, please pass it on that to them as well. So that's enough of me running my mouth for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Get out.